Welcome learner. I, Dr. Neelkamal Saran, Faculty School of Education IGNOU, welcome you to this second video of Unit 11. The title of the unit is Democratic Principles of Education. Now before starting this video, let us see the objectives of this video lesson. The first objective of this video lesson is you will be able to comprehend the basic principles of democracy. You will also be able to critically analyze the applications of democratic principles in education, and you will be able to elucidate the relationships of democracy and education in India. Now the first topic is principles of democracy. There are four basic principles of democracy which is preserved in India. They are liberty, equality, fraternity and justice. Now if you see the preamble of Indian Constitution, it says that the sovereign democratic Republic of India will ensure to all its citizens justice, which is social, economic and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship, equality of status and opportunity to promote among them, all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity of the nation. Apart from these basic principles, democracy, as has already been pointed out, also expresses the ideals of dignity of the individual, cooperation and sharing of responsibility. Now the first principle or one of the important principle of democracy is liberty or freedom. None in the year 1945 asserts that nothing good enters human life except through the free activities of men and women. The free activities which men and women does, only those activities, only good from those activities enters into the human being. Liberty is a Latin word which is derived from liber, which means free. Here liberty means free from all restrictions and freedom to act in a way one wants. But in our society, such meaning of liberty is taken in a negative way. Why? Because human beings are not an animal who can be free from all the restrictions. You must have seen animals, they don't have any restriction. They are free to enter anywhere, they are free to attack anyone, anyone can beat them also. But we, being a human being, we cannot be free from all the restrictions. So in our society, no person can be really permitted to act without any limitations. Hence, what is liberty? Liberty is taken to mean the absence of not all the restrictions, but only those restrictions which are held to be irrational. Means the irrational restrictions are restricted, but the restrictions which are rational, they are not restricted. There is a presence of the restrictions which are rational, and irrational restrictions are absent in liberty. When one talks of freedom, one refers to freedom of thought, action, speech and movement. It is in an atmosphere of freedom that one gets motivated to express himself or herself and to realize his or her potentialities. The optimum growth of man's personality is possible in an environment of freedom and flexibility. If free environment is provided to the people, then only the optimum growth can take place. But we should not forget that our social and political setup is such that it imposes the rigid uniformity and represses the individuality, which can in no way help individuals to bring out the best in them. Thus, individuals in a democracy should be free from external forces and avoidable constants so that their conscience will be the best judge of their own conduct and character. Next important principle of democracy is equality. You must have seen the weighing balances. What the people does, they try to make two things equal. Similarly, if in general you think what is equality, equality means two or more things having equal state, value or appearance. But equality in democracy is characterized as every citizen are to be treated same as every other citizen. It means people have the same opportunity, access, same rights and similar social status. The basic principle of equality is that people should not be treated differently on any basis, either it is related to race, sex, gender identity, class, language, religion, age, sexual orientation, national origin, birth status, and even on the basis of disability. So, equality is also a right which says that all individuals have the right to equal treatment and non-discrimination in all the forms, which includes social equality, political equality, economic equality and civil equality, that is all the laws and orders are same for all the citizens. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights UDHR was drawn up in the year 1948. It holds that all individuals are born free and equal in dignity and rights, and further enshrines the right to equality under Article 2, which holds that all individuals have the right to equal fulfillment and enjoyment of their human rights without being treated differently in any way, including on the basis of their race, color, sex, language, religion, political or other opinion, national or social origin, property, birth or other status. Another important principle of democracy is fraternity. Fraternity is a broader concept of living together in a nation with mutual respect and cooperation irrespective of diversities in faith and living styles. Irrespective of the diversities, we being a human being should realize that we are the citizens of same nation, so we should not fight or quarrel with each other in the name of religion or caste or state or on the color, race. So, we should understand that fellow feeling and morale of togetherness is an important characteristics of democracy, and unless the individual feels that he or she belongs to the same humanity, See, he cannot have the feeling of this fellow feeling or the morale of togetherness. Therefore, there should not be discrimination, any kind of discrimination of caste, color, creed, language, place or reason of birth, and resistance and sex in the living and development of individuals. Love, affection, cooperation, sympathy and understanding are the natural outcomes of fraternity which are essential for the success of democracy. Justice is one another important principle of democracy, which means fair treatment of people as the outcome of all the above values, that is liberty, equality, fraternity. It is natural that an individual has the right to justice. He or she cannot be deprived from any opportunity, nor can he or she be debarred from getting his or her dues in all walks of life. Individual cannot be discriminated against on grounds that are unfair or illegal. In case this happens, individuals deserve to go to courts for voicing their grievances and demand justice irrespective of religion, caste, creed or sex. Irrespective of our religion or caste, we can raise our voice and we can demand for justice if any unfair happens to us, any unfair things happens to us. Next topic is democratic principles as applied to education. Now we have studied about the four important principles of democracy, that is liberty, equality, fraternity and justice. Now we will apply this democratic principle or how these democratic principles are applied to education. Let us see that. First is liberty, freedom in education. Let us see how freedom is applied in education. Pestalozzi, one of the early educationists, conceived that the aim of education is freedom from dependence and achievement of self-reliance. According to him, the aim of education is freedom from dependence. On the role of education in life of human beings, Pestalozzi states that education through freedom is emphasized in a democracy and the child is to be educated in an atmosphere of freedom. So, democratic principles of liberty, equality, responsibility, justice and cooperation should find full realization in education to make it effective and meaningful. The foundations of disciplined behavior and good conduct in students is to be laid down from the very beginning through education, so that they can achieve the best in themselves in future and understand the value of freedom as well as essential social controls. The students need to give adequate academic freedom. They should be made free from any external influence that prevents them from seeing and saying the truth. So, education should provide, should make them free from any kind of external influence which prevents them in seeing and saying the truth. They must also develop encourage and competence to investigate the truth with the help of education. Education should also encourage to utilize their freedom to perform their duties and fulfill their responsibilities with belief and sincerity. Let us see what is equality in education or how equality is applied in education. Rousseau has pointed out that due to the diversities in circumstances and privileges, students show differences in their performance and achievement. The difference in the performance and achievement of the students is due to the diversities in the circumstances and privileges. It is therefore vital to provide adequate facilities to children to develop their abilities to the optimum. And equality of educational opportunity is essential to achieve this purpose. In spite of individual differences, importance of environment cannot be underestimated as an important factor of educational growth. So, in the educational growth of a child, the importance of environment cannot be neglected. So, environment plays an important role in the growth and development of child. In spite of a lot of individual differences, they are able to perform and achieve in similar manner if the environment will be, such environment will be provided to them. Hence, emphasis is laid on quantitative equality of education irrespective of caste, creed, color, social status or financial condition of individuals. So, emphasis should be given on the quantitative equality of education. The Education Commission in the year 1964 to 66 have rightly observed one of the important social objective of education is to equalize opportunity, enabling the backward or underprivileged classes and individuals to use education as a device for the improvement of their condition. So, every society that values social justice and is concerned to improve the share of the common man and cultivate all available talent, they must ensure progressive equality of opportunity to all sections of the population. This equality of opportunity should be provided to all sections of the population or society. Now, let us see the fraternity in education. Universal brotherhood being an important tenet of democracy, its place in education is of fundamental significance. So, students, teachers, parents and even non-teaching staffs should be bonded with love, sympathy, understanding and fellow feeling. In administration and organization of projects as well as co-curricular activities, this spirit of fraternity should prevail for ensuring cooperation and rapports. Now, if you see that all the co-curricular activities, group project, group dance, group song, sports, all these are based on this fraternity principle of democracy. So, this can also lead to success of education in general and development of students' personality in particular. This helps in the development of personality of the students. The we feeling and the nationalistic spirit have to be developed in future citizens of the country through education. Another important principle, justice. What is the role of justice and how this justice is applied in education? Let us see that. As an outcome of the above characteristics of democracy, it is essential that justice should be ensured in education. Equalization of educational opportunity, liberty, fraternity are basic to justice. In order to train the students in citizenship, it is necessary that the ideal of social and economic justice is inculcated in them. Also, special measures need to be taken by educational institutions to make up for the deficiencies and for removing the economic, social and cultural barriers, disabilities, so that injustice that has been persisting over centuries can be done away with, and justice denied to the deprived can be restored. Use of unfair practices of any kind by the teachers or by the students should be taken seriously if justice is to become endemic to education. Sharing responsibility in education. Education is a joint responsibility of all concerned students, teachers, parents, communities, supervisors and so on. And every group has to share responsibility in the total process of education in their own way according to their own capacity. In a democracy, every member of society has his or her own duties and responsibilities. In the eyes of the law and constitution, everybody is equal and everybody has his or her own voice and views to be expressed. All points of views have their relevance in education and all individuals should make their contribution for educational development. Another important topic is education for democracy. Now, what is education for democracy? Education should be such that it inculcates democracy among its students or democracy among the democratic way of life should be inculcated among students through education. So, without education, democracy has limited relevance and effectiveness, and without democracy, education loses its meaning. So, democracy and education have a reciprocal relation and one cannot thrive without the other. When democracy believes in giving freedom to the people, but if they are not educated, then their freedom may lead to anarchy or chaos and indiscipline. Economic self-sufficiency is also necessary for this democratic education. Mathur in the year 1966 has laid down the following two preconditions for the success of education for democracy. Let us see what are the two preconditions for the success of this education for democracy. First precondition is there should be economic betterment to the people. If their basic needs like food, shelter and clothing, these basic needs are not fulfilled, then the people may be prepared to give up their political freedom. They are ready to give up their political freedom if their basic needs are not fulfilled. If this freedom does not help them to solve their problem of bread and butter, they need to leave or give up this political freedom. And second precondition is that the formation of an educated electorate. Democracy can function properly only when people are educated and are conscious of their rights and duties. Education provides them the capacity for better judgment. They can judge which is right or wrong, which is just and unjust, which is fair and unfair. Otherwise, a small group will assume the control over this government of the state and begins to exploit the masses. And besides this, the basic aim of education for healthy democracy are development of well integrated and harmonious personality of an individual, character building, including moral and ethical development of the individual is also a basic aim of education. The values like honesty, sincerity, truthfulness, integrity, commitment, all these should be inculcated among the students through education and training of an efficient and productive existence in a society or culture. Citizens who can contribute to their countries, such type of citizens should be developed through this education. So, these are the basic aim for healthy democracy. Next important topic is democratization of education. Now, what does this democratization of education means? It means the entire education system, its aim, curriculum, methodology, class management, school organization, supervision, etc. has to be democratized in order to make democracy as well as education a success. So, all these need to be democratized in order to make democracy and education a success. The principles of democracy like liberty, equality, this fraternity, fellow feeling, cooperation, sharing responsibilities and so on are to be introduced and practiced and transcended so that education will not only be democratic in form but also in spirit. It should not only be in the form but it should come in the spirit. It should be in spirit also. Democratization of education has to be considered from the point of view of two dimensions. One is quantitative dimension and another is qualitative dimension. Now, let us see the quantitative dimension of democratization of education. The Constitution of India was adopted on 26th January 1950 and declared India a sovereign democratic republic. So, it was realized that right to education should be allowed as far as the country's economic capacity allows. This right to education should be provided to the citizens. So, Article 45 very hopefully enunciated that the state shall endeavour to provide within a period of 10 years from the commencement of the Constitution for free and compulsory education to all children until they complete the age of 14 years. And as per the directive principles of the state policy, attempts were made to promote elementary education in the country. India has made a reasonable progress as far as the quantitative expansion of education is concerned. In the year 1947, the percentage of literacy was only 16%, which has increased to 74.04% in the year 2011. And for the first time in the history of independent India, the number of literate persons is now more than the number of illiterates. Since independence, there has been a substantial increase in enrollment at all levels of education. Since independence, continuous increase has been realized in terms of numbers of schools, colleges, universities, students enrollment, appointment of teachers, literacy rate, male literacy, female literacy, etc. But at the same time, this universalization of elementary education is still a distant goal to be achieved. Children still not enrolled in schools at the primary stage belong to the weaker section of society, including SC/ST groups, girls, agriculture workers and slum dwellers. They are still not enrolled in the school at the primary stage. It is estimated that more than 2/3 of the non-enrolled children are girls, and more than 80% of the non-enrolled children are in the 9 educationally backward states of the country. These states are Andhra Pradesh, Assam, Bihar, Jammu and Kashmir, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh and West Bengal. Now various steps are being taken for universalization of elementary education by the coming years. Next is, let us see the qualitative democratization of education. Democratization of education is not merely equality of educational opportunity to increase in the number of individuals enrolled in the educational institution. It also implies the standardization of educational facilities. This means that democratization of education would also involve providing at least reasonable infrastructure facilities, intellectual and technical know-how, as well as scope for co-curricular activities to all individuals in democracy. Democratization of education presupposes a national commitment including a large majority of people and maximization of this physical, material and intellectual resources. One of the study conducted by Gault in the year 1973 under the auspices of UNESCO has revealed that democratization of education refers to both equality of opportunity and achievement of goals, which it also implies two things. First one is all should get education without discrimination, and second is each should be given opportunity according to one's ability. So, equity and equality. In a democracy, the teaching learning process has to be free, flexible and learner centered. The needs and interests of the students need to be properly taken care of, and the methods of teaching must be creative and participatory. Educational institutes have to assume the status of community centers. Students' habits, interests and attitudes must be molded according to the democratic principles and values. In class management and school organizations also, there must be mutual help, cooperation of fellow feeling, individual initiative, sharing of responsibility, so that true democracy can be functional and operative in schools and colleges. Primary schools should no doubt provide the training for citizenship during the formative years, but high schools and colleges also need to nurture and nourish democratic behavior and conduct. The organization and management of educational institutes must be familiar to the democratic spirit, and the programs as well as practices therein should be intended to promote democratic living and learning. People's government, self-government, self-staff meeting, students' participation, students' council and so on have to be introduced and can be accelerated in order to promote democratic living and learning. Let us see the democratization of education in India. In India also, attempts have been made to democratize the educational system. And in India, it is quite evident that continuously the government machineries as well as the stakeholders of education are working hard to make education democratized. Some of the recent initiatives made in this direction are implementation of RTE Act 2009, RMSA, and Rashtriya Uchtar Madhyamik Shiksha Abhiyan, now this NEP 2020. And as a result of these initiatives, India has achieved both quantitative and qualitative growth in education. Also, the democratic participation of students in the management committees, etc., are being encouraged. The interests and suggestions of students are taken into account for organization of co-curricular activities and other programs in schools. The method of teaching has been democratized through students questioning, discussion and sharing responsibility in the teaching learning process. Learning joyfully and freely is the basic condition and requisition for democratization. But in spite of her strong commitment to democracy, democratization of education in India is still a distant vision. We have achieved political democracy, but we are striving hard to realize social and economic democracy. Education has not yet been reoriented and reorganized to impart adequate knowledge, understanding, interests, skills for success of democracy. And this democracy cannot be stabilized or established by mere government decrees and directives. Translation of the basic tenets of democracy into real life is a very slow process which is possible through gradual modification of behavior and continuous social change. Hence, we can say that democratization is possible when democracy not only becomes functional, but it also gets reflected in the entire educational system and conduct of all the persons therein. Now let us have a look on what we have studied in today's video lesson. In today's video lesson, we have discussed the basic principles of democracy, that is liberty, equality, fraternity, justice, sharing responsibility, cooperation, dignity of individuals and their implications in education. We have also discussed about the fundamentals of education for democracy, and in the end we have discussed about quantitative and qualitative democratization of education with special reference to the Indian context. I have some assessment question for you all. The first question is, how is the principle of freedom applied to education? Second question is, what are the basic aims of education for democracy? And the third question is, explain the quantitative dimension of democratization of education. In the next video lesson, we will discuss about the other part of the democratic principles of education.